When you want the best, what you do? Shop at SCS. Better than the rest. Go shop at SCS. And they all confess. Shop at SCS. You get more for less. Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. Yeah. Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. SCS family, customer friendly. With free locations, it's so convenient. And our prices, they are the nicest. Madam and Monsieur, that's where you belong. Go tell your mama, tell your papa, shop at SCS. Tell your son and your daughter, shop at SCS. Auntie, and cousin, friend, open power, all of them. Grandma, grandpa, open neighbor, girlfriend, boyfriend, side. What? Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. Check us out at Pottersville, High Street, and Downtown Rose.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fenced pipe, and Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins, and bidets. PVC piping, fittings, and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of your favorite sports program, Sports Wrap on a Thursday night, where we bring you all the latest sports and other stuff where we discuss. And let me say good night. I'm Lockhart Sebastian and
I'm Emmanuel Loblack.
Yes, we haven't seen Ronald Lander yet, and Dr. Fontaine should be in studio tonight. Yeah, Dr. Fontaine, I think Ronald Lander is close by, so he should be at his seat anytime soon. So tonight we're going to have a nice program. We're going to be speaking to the national football coach. As you know, Dominica just lost both matches in Bermuda. Didn't do very well, and they're in danger now of coming last, and they better not come last, because if they come last, Lobby, they will be in League C, and that's what they don't want. They'll be demoted. So we'll talk about that. We're going to talk a little athletics as well, Lobby. I think the secondary school athletics starts tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow and Monday. I'm not sure. I think it was postponed, they say, because of the what happened on Wednesday at the little demonstration, the little protest, really. The people, the authorities want to call it otherwise. And we're going to have the former president of Cricket West Indies, Mr. Dave Cameron, will join us to talk about Cricket West Indies cricket, his tenure when he was president, and everything else. As you know, by the way, West Indies lost today, Lobby. They didn't play very well.
But Sibo, I'm not surprised. When you surrender game two, that itself, I'm not surprised, Sebastian. We're consistently inconsistent. That's all we do.
And the ladies have a semi-final tomorrow.
Yes, and South Africa surprised Australia.
Yes, that was an upset, really. I mean,
I don't think
that was an upset.
Upset. They played. They batted.
No, it's an upset. I mean, Australia has won the last so many World Cups, so it's an upset to beat them. But I mean, they played well, yeah. Well, it's an upset.
But to me, I'm impressed with their batting here.
With that South Africa?
Uh-huh.
Well, if the two girls are the first two have the most runs in the tournament, so.
And I mean, they hit that ball like any man here. They're strong.
Yeah, they're strong. They're strong. They're probably doing a lot of things They're probably doing a lot of things men doing, so we don't know.
See, but what I find also, they're filled in. They're filled in on par.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, lovely. So we'll talk about that. So we're going to have a nice program now. Ronald Lander has just joined. Good night, sir.
Good night.
Yeah, everything's okay?
Yeah, things are cool. Man.
Yeah, you look like a young boy now since you took that haircut, man.
Things are cool.
Hello, you don't find that?
The traffic
You
is
look like a young boy since you took that haircut.
People,
Uh-huh.
what is the name? There's a name for that haircut, you know.
Well, tell us the name, Lobby.
Huh?
Yeah, what's the name? What's the name?
He can tell you.
Oh, you mean Ronald can tell us?
Yeah, the name of the haircut.
Okay. Well, you know, Lobby, we have to talk. You know, they had this thing on Wednesday, and Dominica, we're in a bad place in Dominica, honestly, this demonstration. And the quality of life, well, you don't live here, Lobby, so you're not part of it, but the quality of life in Dominica has left a lot.
I'm well informed from my country.
But you know, what I have to say, and I'll talk about the police, really, the policemen. The police in Dominica, I would call them a disgrace, really, the police. And yeah, seriously, we have to talk about that because the police, I think we have a caller. Let's take the caller and then we'll come back.
Already?
Yeah, already. Good night.
Yes, good night, Lobby. Good night,
Hey.
gentlemen.
Are you okay? You said you got tear gas. Are you okay?
Yes, I got tear gas in my donkey, boy. Plenty tear gas.
In your donkey?
Yeah.
Really bond, yeah. Okay. All right, okay.
I'm giving another break. This is a young man, you know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he wants to look. Yeah, you see his hair like you know those Indians in Trinidad. That guy there, he's looking like them.
You look like you're obsessed with him and his haircut.
No. He looks like a teenager. Yeah, he looking young. He look young.
Okay. All right. Okay, and Jerome. Gentlemen, I'm inviting you all tomorrow to come and support us at the.
Who is us?
The women of workers.
Right, say that.
Wow.
Right.
You didn't give me a break.
Okay, well, let me give you a break then. Go ahead.
Okay, the women of wow. Down at the PSA Center from tomorrow 11 o'clock to get all your scrumptious and delicious meals.
Okay.
Your callaloo, your crab callaloo, your meat callaloo, your stew crab, your sancoch, your furin and saboka, your roast breadfruit, and the list goes on.
Well, that's not a bad meal. What you say that is not a bad thing at all. What you saying?
You get your fried fish. You get stew fish. You get soup. Just come, gentlemen.
Okay.
And delicious.
And the prices are affordable, right, Blue?
Always affordable.
Okay.
If the prices won't hurt your pocket, neither Ronald's pocket.
Well, Ronald, that would hurt Ronald's pocket, yeah, but me, I mean, that would hurt Ronald's pocket.
I would not hurt your pocket at all. But let's go down to brass tacks now.
Okay.
Yesterday was a very awful day. The people at the protest were doing what protesters do. What the policemen do were uncalled for. They were corporate police, they're like robots. One was always on his phone, the big hand red one. Always on his phone. Who he communicating with? Nobody knows. Every time he blah, he on his phone. That thing you see all of them start to get up, and that other one they call in JJ. And no name, no around JJ's initials. He, the woman police, and another one. They were the people that were really after to get that tear gas into people. For what reason? There was no rowdy crowd excepting people doing what people were protest blocking road. And the entrance they were blocking, there wasn't the main road. The main road was blocked off already. So I didn't see no reason for tear gas. It's like the time they gave us tear gas by Macmillan. When the meeting was close enough, they give us tear gas. It's that same red man there at the head. I don't know why he liked tear gas. He must be tear gas Ali. The man they call tear gas Ali in, what they call that, in Iraq, Iran, a country he was there. He must be that man. And that's what I'm called for. People and they were sending tear gas, especially in the direction of people's homes in the Kenfield area. It was totally a disaster yesterday when that was the men that said they came to protest for their money. Them men close up like Mesemawi. You cannot go and, negotiate with a man. All you know is not he that in charge of no project in the country. All you can negotiate with him. What kind of negotiation are you going to come up with? What? The man have to call his boss. The boss have to call the second boss before they give all you anything. When the Chinese have how many trucks already down there working? Men should think of that. You think the Chinese going to take all the men that were there that say they are available for working? Hell, it's not going to happen. But nobody don't know what does pass, what that doesn't pass. Police are brutalizing people for nothing, and they must stop that. All of them have family, they have children, they have grandchildren. Not stop roughing up people for nothing. When the day things will turn on all you, I hope Waldo says Malde do all you. Have a blessed night. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, Dr. Fountain says he's on his way, guys. He should be in studio with us, Lobby. By the way, Dr. Fountain. Yeah, he should be. Okay. Yeah, what I would say, the guys, the person in charge of the police goes and makes a public statement that says, and he says, people are fighting for their survival, their rights, a violent mob. He described the people fighting for survival. I heard men saying they haven't paid their school fees yet, for their children. They can have many trucks. Now, these men, what this police don't understand, the men there have their brothers, their sisters, their wife, girlfriend, maybe the outside woman, outside man, whatever it is. Who knows? We don't know. People, they're fighting for their survival. And the guy, now, that term, violent mob, Lobby, you live in the state, was used a couple of years ago during the January 16 when Trump did this nonsense. You're describing people who fighting for survival as a violent mob. Now, if these people, Ronald and Lobby, didn't do what they did there, they would never have gotten the outcome. Because if they had stayed quiet, if they hadn't protested, they would have got nothing. People must fight for their right. You can't call people. And then you have another guy with a bullhorn or whatever, shouting to big people, go to your homes. Go when you have your kid around and you tell them, man, be at yourself, I'll do that. Oh, go to your home. Oh, I'm warning you all. And they start inflicting pain on people with their tear gas. Inflicting real pain on people with tear gas. I mean, how is that right now? The people fighting for their rights, they're not getting work. If they didn't do that, if they hadn't done that, there was no way they would have gotten the outcome. And you calling the people of fight. That man is a moron, honestly. He's a real moron to call the people of fight, to call people fighting for their survival. That's how I look at it. Fighting for survival, a violent mob. Ronald.
Yeah, yes. Last week, I spoke about negative economic indicator in terms of our cruise reception, where all other persons have their reception area. Small St. Kitts have Point Zante, St. Lucia have Point Seraphine. And when you arrive in a country on a cruise, you feel welcome. You feel that you're coming to somewhere special. When you arrive in Dominica, you arrive among some tents and you see a dilapidated hotel. So this is a negative economic indicator that we need to deal with. The matter with the truckers is another negative economic indicator. You've got truckers who've invested in their trucks, they're not getting work, and you have Chinese, little Chinese boys. Some of them are prisoners, driving trucks, driving things all over the place and so on. And you have your Dominicans who can contribute. And if you employ those Dominicans are going to spend money in the country to have a multiplier effect, to grow the economy. And we're not seeing that. I just want to talk about another negative economic indicator. I just want to talk about another negative. You got a caller?
Yeah, we have a caller. Let's go. Good night.
Good evening, Thibault.
How are you? Good night.
I'm there, and good evening to the rest of the panel. Sibo, I was disappointed.
How? Tell us in why. Why?
You know why I was disappointed?
I'd like to know.
People here don't know nothing about demonstration. They don't know nothing about protest. If they had know about protest, you cannot tell me you write a leader for country 20 letters. Now all you fighting for work, all you going and meet him? No, he has to come and meet all you. All you have to show him he working for you or you're not working for him. Right now he have to go and beg for you to get a job. When you see people in Dominica want to protest, I want them to go to St. Lucia and find out how people just protest. And what other place? No, it was a place they was protesting in Martinique.
They dropped the prices in Martinique.
How people just protest.
Yeah.
Dominican don't know how to protest.
Thank you. You know, the only thing I find sometimes, the truck, what they should have done too, they should have had trucks at the bottom of Mount Daniel blocking both ends. So people like Leonard Clinton and others, they would have to get police to walk down with them. Because you see, they wouldn't be able to drive them. So if you had trucks as well by auto trade, you can't go up and down the hill on the other side. So you can't go up and down Mount Daniel. So certain people would have to get police to walk down with them, honestly. So that's
and it's a signal of poor economic management in the country. Recently, after Hurricane Maria, we had Dominica strong. Guys came from abroad with trucks and so on, doing all the work that truckers started to do. And they were just pushed aside. And those guys are trying their best to get involved. And if they get involved, the important thing, I know who's leading the economics. I know the Prime Minister is training English and psychology. I know who is advising him in economics. But this is so fundamental that if you employ your people will spend the money in the country. You're going to have a multiplier effect, and it's going to transform to economic growth. And this is so fundamental. There's one major area I want to talk about that's coming on very soon, and it's close to my heart because I was one of the pioneers of that activity, the World Creole Music Festival.
Ronald, I think next week in the first half an hour, that's what we're going to be talking about. So in fact, I've already spoken to Wadix to join us here for the first half an hour. So let's leave that for next week.
So quick, I just want to make some points, some short points very quickly, Sibo.
Go ahead.
Okay. I'm saying that we're trying to develop a cultural industry. And what we're seeing happening now in the festival is that on night one, you've got 2 Dominican bands and 4 foreign artists. On night 2, you've got 2 Dominican bands again and 4 foreign artists. On night 3, you've got 2 Dominican bands and 7 foreign artists. How is that going to help us? How is it going to help us to stimulate our economy? You're going to pay fellas from all over the world to come to Dominica. You're going to pay them high fees because you've got to pay them half of the fees before they come. And before they play, you give them the other half. And all that money goes out. What about the other areas that we have, like the Bele and the Quadrille and the Jinping? Is that going to be brought onto the main stage? We've got to find a way, Dominicans, the people that are controlling Dominica, we've got to find a way of optimizing the economic impact of the festival. We've got to find a way of transforming Dominica, of getting more economic activity. It's very difficult in Dominica now. You see the Chinese have taken all over, all the commercial activities, and Dominicans on the roadside scrunting, trying to sell stuff. And there is no disposable income. So we've got to find a way of stimulating our economy. Next week, when we come, as Cebu said, I will speak a little more on that subject matter.
You know, I don't know if you guys heard Blackmore today. They had a press conference, you're right, Blackmore. And it appears that they're going to be want to put people on the man. And I heard Blackmore say, and he said that, that's a fact, that they have some trained police now, and they need some heavier equipment now. I don't understand what he meant, because in fact, he actually said that the trucker should have been arrested. He said that today. But what I am saying, here is this man. It appears that these guys want to use the police now to keep them in power. And instead of trying to, do you know, guys, on Monday, right, downstairs Peter Karam's house, where Campbell Phillip used to be, that's where they have the dental thing now, public, where you can go now to get a cheaper if you don't want to go to a private dentist. On Monday, there were over 20 people there seeking. There were people there crying, bawling, pain. People, elderly people. That's why I say sometimes they talk about yes, you care, but it's yes, we don't care. And can you imagine after some time, the people who said they have to go home because there was no anesthetic. They couldn't do the extraction, and people are in pain, and they had to go home. And then you hear this man talk Blackmore today talking about they have I'm not quoting him verbatim, but they have to get some heavy equipment so that when people like this truckers yesterday try to protest, they will be put under heavy manners. And people are suffering. People cannot get the extraction because when they go to private dentists, a lot of money. And the people couldn't do the, and that is a fact. On Monday, downstairs Peter Karam's building, where they do the thing for the public, where it's supposed to be cheaper, there's no anesthetic. So they couldn't do the extraction. And I understand they also have a facility in La Plaine, and they couldn't do it because something is wrong with the chair the dentist uses where the bulbs are not working and they cannot repair that. Can you imagine that? And people are trying to jail men fighting for their survival because they cannot pay their loans, they cannot get job, and people talking about it, arrest the truckers, man. Man, give me a break, man. It is something else. Guys, Lobby, you want to make any comment, Lobby?
Sebastian, what you said?
I said, you want to make any comments?
If I want to make Brother Dominican, you know, he asking if I want to make Sebastian.
No, can you imagine, Lobby? Lobby, have you ever gotten a toothache? Ronald, have you ever gotten a toothache?
Yeah.
Lobby, you ever got toothache?
Yeah.
I touched the roof of my house, you know, as a kid.
When you had toothache, right?
Yeah.
Right. So that's how bad it is. Can you imagine people on Monday, elderly people, going to get extraction? They cannot get it done. There's no anesthetic. Telling not even that they could do to help people. Let me, and I want to speak to the people that support Labour, They must understand now. They can't go on with that. I mean, you like your party, but you need a change. You need something new so that there can be, because the quality of life in Dominica is just not good. I mean, a basic thing like to get an extraction, because there's no anesthetic there to be done. So the people must examine themselves and say, man, what do we do? Look at people like in the Salisbury. I heard Hector John talking about the people in Salisbury. They cannot go to their farms. The road is not good. All that help out the people in Colby Street, the seawall. They need that because every time you have heavy rain, they're scrambling and they're running for cover. And but the people talking about the police now, they want to make sure the police are properly armed, so they put people under heavy manners.
Sebastian.
Yeah.
You know what happened there with the trucker, Sebastian? I'm just telling myself, I'm not surprised. We take everything for granted in Dominica. We have forgotten 49 days strike in Dominica.
Mm-hmm.
We have forgotten you were in the Windsor Park when you remember when the game was stalled.
Yeah, the cricket match. Yeah.
Not only that, true, yeah. The whole of Roseau was smoke. The amount of tear gas that passed in Roseau on that day. Mm-hmm. It was as fast Pottersville up Goodville,
Mm-hmm.
Right? And the problem is this, Sebastian. Struggle is, as long as we keep on living, people have to be prepared to struggle. And statements, you must be very careful with statements, because I have said politics is a temporary job. It's not a permanent job.
Blackmore said a smart thing today. He said, Labour wouldn't be there all the time. He said that it's a cycle. It wouldn't be there all the time. He did make that point today. That's what you say there.
No, but you see, but you don't fight fire with fire. The guys made a lot of valid points. Their struggle is very valid. You have to sit with them. All right, hear what they have to say. All right, what do you want them to go and do? To go and sell drugs? It's illegal to sell drugs. What do you want them to go and do? Be involved in something fraudulent? All right, the time has come, Sebastian, that we're having about Dominica must be for Dominicans. We have to share the pie. You cannot allow foreigners to be just enjoying, the work in Dominica. Landa spoke about Dominica strong. Look at what happened in the Roseau River now. Look at the Roseau River, Dominica strong. Sebastian?
You think you can still go under power? Ronald used to go there all the time.
Yes.
You still can take your dock under power? They have big bass and they're still under power. You remember the days, Lobby, Ronald, eh?
But
I remember in hostel. Eh?
We used to stay, Sebastian. We used to stay on top of the extreme early part, that UV center, and jump into on the power.
But I don't think you can do that now. You'll bust your head if you go there now.
You'll be dead.
You'll end up. Well, I guess so. You'll end up on stones and
No,
everything
but
else.
it is sad what took place with the truckers.
No, listen, but what I'm saying, for the guy to be describing the people as a violent mob, I mean, that is a joke. The people, as I say, fighting for the survival. You hear guys saying they cannot put their trucks on the road, they cannot afford to pay insurance and license. They don't get work. And this man is describing the people fighting for the survival as a violent mob. Another one, people tell you, go to their home, shouting, and then they start throwing tear gas, people scrambling and running for cover, man. Give me a break, man. I mean, come on, man. And again, these are the same people, remember years ago, they burned tires, everything, the same Labour Party people, but now they're talking about people should demonstrate. The same black man that said today that the truckers should have been arrested. He said that. These are his words. He said they should have been arrested. You forget Labour Party. Guys, do you remember that? Right in Roseau? They burned tires, everything, but now they want to arrest people. Black man is saying they should arrest the people. We have a caller. Good evening. Hello? Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes.
I want to talk about that thing yesterday. I was there and we were talking to the police very calmly. And all of a sudden, the three inspectors meet together and they just decided to tell these guys, go and do the work. And this guy willfully sent the tear gas at us. And we were protesting peacefully. And I saw Simeon yesterday running. And Simeon had to call the Prime Minister to tell the Prime Minister, tell this guy, stop doing this thing. When the first tear gas fall on that daycare yesterday, I say murder, children died. Because three of them, one even catch fire by somebody's house. And I'm saying Comet mustn't do that. Comet must realize he has family. It's not every day we're going to be in power. One of these days, the table will turn, and then some people will be making noise for something. Would they need us for us to support them? Dominica don't belongs to one man. We need to tell the people of Dominica, come out on the Labour Party side and stand up for Dominica and let us build Dominica back. And you cannot have all this truck. I have a truck, and it's not working because I cannot pay the insurance and license. There is you have Garakan patching roads and the small trucks, and we buy rollers and all them things to do the work, and we cannot do it. There is a time Dominicans have to come out from the shell, and they need to have a next protest again like that, and a demonstration, and let us hold it until the Prime Minister understands to leave office. Good night.
Thank you. Yeah, because people are hurting. We have another caller. Good evening.
And the hurtful thing about that tear gas, Sibo, you know what they did? They know people may be looking for the serial number of them tear gas. They scrape them out. So all you're seeing is empty silver canisters. Sibo, the man was doing that like his rain that falling, things they didn't pay for, they get it, and it's one behind the others. Ludum. I'm telling you that. I've been there to see tear gas canisters for like rain, Sibo. Like it was a revenge they were taking out with them tear gas. And I heard Starboy's stupidity said something like workers that were in the protest. Workers are Dominican, Starboy. We are Dominicans.
Okay.
And people saw a Haitian at the protest yesterday. A Haitian was at the protest.
Well, they're feeling this pressure as well. Everybody's feeling the pressure. Labor rights, workers, everybody feeling the pressure.
Talking about workers.
The pressure
all
is
are Dominicans, and we supposed to support anything we don't like that going wrong in the country. We supposed to stand up for it. Bye-bye.
Right. Thanks. Okay, on that note, we take a small break. Let's take a break now.
Ay, boy.
When you want the best, what you do? Shop at SES. Better than the rest. Go shop at SES. And they all confess. Shop at SES. You get more for what they say. Shop at SES. Shop at SES. Yeah. Shop at SES. Shop at SES. What they say. Shop at SES. SES family, customer friendly. With free locations, it's so convenient. And our prices, they are the nicest. Madam in history, that's where you belong. Oh, tell your mama, tell your papa, shop at SES. Tell your son and your daughter, shop at SES. Auntie, nan, and cousin, friend, open power, all of them. Grandma, grandpa, couple, neighbor, girlfriend, boyfriend, side, what? Shop at SES. Shop at SES. Shop at SES. Shop at SES. Check us out at Portersville, High Street, and downtown Rose.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fenced pipe, and Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, space basins, and bidets. PVC piping, fittings, and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Looking for a quiet, relaxing place to stay? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Leaving the office late and need somewhere close to town? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Have business clients coming in and need accommodation? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Looking for group accommodation? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Located at 37 Goodwill Road in Portersville, upstairs ACS Supermarket. Enjoy our semi-self-contained rooms with private washroom, bathroom, Wi-Fi, air condition, cable network, mini refrigerator, all in a non-smoking environment. Call or WhatsApp at 1767-275-1899 or email us at info@portersplaceguesthouse.com to make your reservations. Porter's Place, your home away from home. Fit for a king, a queen, and all their royal subjects.
Yeah, we are back, and Dr. Fontaine, good night. You just joined us. We're happy to have you here. We just missed the little discussion we're having where the police were causing problems yesterday, I would say, the police. And good night, by the way.
Very good night to you and to our listeners. Good to be back. Good to be on Sports Wrap.
We should be having the national coach in a while, the football. But before he joins, if you want to make any comments, it's up to you.
No, I'll join the conversation. It's fine.
Yeah. Ronald, you wanted to...
What I wanted to do very briefly is to commend AC Shillingford and Rudolph Thomas for continuously sponsoring the Sports Wrap. And I'm making an appeal to fans, all the Sports Wrap fans in Portsmouth and Roseau. Please support those two sponsors. Without them, we would not be able to produce a show. I saw Julie on Friday, and Julie looks good. I hope that his mind can come back around.
With Julia, by the way.
Julius Timothy.
All right. Cool.
Julius Timothy.
Right.
Is the mobile
very good, but the head is still, the brain is still challenging, and I trust that everything can turn around for him. But please, fans, support our sponsors, ACS and Rudolph Thomas. Thank you very much.
And anybody interested in nice melon, check Steve, close to the Social Security. Steve from Colby Street, the best melon, nice and sweet. You can't miss it. Right there, he's blue van is parked close to this cosmetic place there. Steve from Colby Street, you get your best smeller. We're still waiting on the national football coach, Mr. Sabin, to join us, so we still have some time. Thompson, by the way, I don't know if you guys saw India last night, eh? You know, India wins, I just couldn't understand that. India wins the toss. They missed it further because of rain. It was dark and cold. And they input on the lights and they go to bat and they get bundled out for 46. Yeah, balls lifting all over the place. I just couldn't, that was shocking.
6 players going up.
6. And I've never understood this thing about people talk about you play free spinners, so you must bat first. I've always said that when you do that, the spinner might not have nothing to bowl to, because when you get bowled out for 46, you're struggling. Sure. So, and what people do not understand as well, if the wicket has moisture in it, the spinners will get wickets. I remember when we played in the 70s against Trinidad, you had the spinners Inshan Ali and Imtiaz Ali and Jumadin. When you play against them at the Oval, wicket, first day, moisture, they'll bowl you out. Yeah. So to say that you want to bat last because you have free spinner and you got bowled up for 46, you're in trouble, because unless somebody makes a double 100 and another man makes a big 100, you're going to lose. The only thing that might save them, the forecast for the last 2 days are not good, like they are in Bangalore, because Bangalore is a place always have rain. I remember first time I went to India, spent a couple of weeks there, and a lot of rain in that place.
And now it's monsoon time.
Yeah, a lot of rain.
Yeah, I see about you're the connoisseur in cricket. I cannot argue with you in cricket. I can only discuss cricket with you. But India holding for 46. Is there a story behind that story?
Well, the fellow bowled well. I mean, to be fair, New Zealand bowled extremely well. And the seamers, that's what I'm saying, the seamers.
Henry and O'Rourke.
O'Rourke, the young fast bowler, 4 and 5. But the point is, you come to a match, you miss it further because of rain. The conditions are overcast. The light, in fact, they had to start with lights on at 9:30 in the morning. Lights on, and you win the toss and you go to bat. And I don't understand that. And you get bundled out. I mean, then the sun came out in the afternoon, and it was better for New Zealand. So they were batting
180 for free.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's important. But it's not the first time, though. They were bundled out in 2020 against Australia for 56.
Yeah, and they came back. But you remember the day too in Australia in Shane one day? It happened where they followed on. What's his name? Laxman, VVS Laxman scored a double 100. Rahul Dravid scored a big 100, and they came back and beat Australia. So India have done it. I mean, Kohli didn't get runs. The captain didn't get runs. So you never know. But I just didn't understand it. To win the toss in dark conditions, it's dark, the wicket is damp, and you say you're going to bat because you have free spinner. That made absolutely no sense to me. We're still waiting on the national football coach to join us. He just came back from Bermuda. By the way, guys, you all saw the game? Lobby, did you see the game? Dominica 2 games. You saw that? You saw it?
Yes.
I watched both games. I saw both games.
But Sebastian,
of
course, look, I have been, when, this guy, Eddie, comes on the program and he gets upset, he'll get upset when people criticize. But around the world, people criticize teams. All right, people change coaches. Look, England just have a new coach now. USA, all right? So people have a right. It is not a right. It's the Dominica Football Association, all right? Dominica, I belong to Dominica. And the product, he speaks about the product, the brand. And let's face it, the football is bad. The football, it is bad.
But the first match, they didn't play well at all.
It's not Sebastian, look them. It's not just playing, Sebastian. I looking at football. Look at football, how it's played today, and what we are playing right now. We are slow. We don't, as if we don't understand system. We don't understand. And something happened, Sebastian, in the first game. I think you saw that when the captain received a red card.
Well, he's not the captain, but it was a foolish red card. You mean Brian Thomas?
That's now. And he threw the captain back on the ground.
But when he was acting captain at the time, because the captain is Prince of Prince.
So whatever happened, he threw it, and he's look. All this guy I've said already. I just can't understand that his game. He has no finesse. he always getting red card in tackle, bad tackles. He's never in position. And the way he went about with dissent, at the official, further actions could be taken against him. Look, that's not Dominica football. You're dealing at CONCACAF FIFA level. There's repercussions for your action when you're being sent off. All right? And I said to myself, look, we're talking about the brand. Bermuda, look, this is a week, years ago, you can ask Glenson Prince. You can tell him he has played. We have had stronger team than that. I've been involved with the team as a trainer. We would have given that Bermuda team maybe 10 or 12 goals. They're nothing big, but we are just weak. Our football is poor.
Well, the first match, they didn't play well. I can tell you, I watched the game, they didn't play well. They didn't play well at all.
Anytime you get 6-1, it's not good at all. Especially if you came from a series in Antigua, where you beat Antigua, Dominican Republic, you contain them. You go to Bermuda, you should have been sufficiently prepared not to get 6-1. 6-1.
But they hit the crossbar 3 times.
Horrendous area. And then in the second game, you got 3-2. What has happened to the team? And I take your point, Low Black, where you need to criticize sometime, but you need to criticize very constructively. And when we look at the quality of football that we had in the past, especially in the Windsor Park, the sports stadium has contributed to the deterioration of football in Dominica. The quality of players we had, the teams that we had, Harlem, Kensborough, Celtic, Spartan, Saints, playing in the Windsor Park. You don't have those teams anymore. You have other teams that are trying now to start from 2.0. We talk about players, Rojo, I see Arborong recently, Irvin Benoit, Herminas, Kokoshu. You don't see that quality of players. Vivian Rene, Dewars, Jean Faustin, Oliver Grell. Oliver Grell, I wish you well, my brother. Oliver Joseph, Fitzhenry, expensive. You don't see that quality of play. The only quality I see is in the goal. Our goalkeeper is extremely good.
Well, although I find Ronald,
he
was at fault for 2 of the goals there.
For 6-1?
Yeah. The fourth goal, I felt that was an easy save. Even the penalty.
But
that was a casual goal. He should have saved that. Yeah, he should have saved the penalty.
Sibo.
Yeah.
You cannot blame the keeper. Our center back. Listen to me. The 6-1. The 6-1, the center back is slow. Because you cannot tell me the ball is floating over your head and you're so casually. You have to approach the ball aggressively because the center man is coming. Our center backs were playing terrible. Look, the man, positioning, the game itself. We had no midfield. There was no support on the right, in the center, on the left. Our football is just terrible. All right, when you're talking about you have to be constructive. I've always been constructive because I know football. You're talking about the impasse. We have had. Look, ask Glenn Prince. Remember this guy from Buffett State, Curson. All right, this team we had with Curson. Curson scored the most goals in the Caribbean football. He got a call up to play football in Guyana. I haven't seen a striker like Curson since then. Brave individual. All right, the kind of football we used to play. You can ask Glenson Prince. I know he's not happy with what he has now. He can't be happy at all. We are playing as if we do not know football. When Landa speaks about the past, about Kensborough, Harlem, Landa, remember that there was no television to watch football to enhance your game. Today, the football is live. It is live to enhance your game, to understand football. Guys do not say they don't understand football, they don't watch football, understand position. All right? You have to understand that. We're playing as if it's like we are dumb in the game. The game is foreign to us. But as I said, it's a reflection of your league. I look at the league, Sunday I'm watching the league, and telling myself, the same long ball, we do string passes, we are not patient. It's seriously. All right? Look at Harlem.
Hold on, we have a caller. Just hold on a minute. Yeah. Good evening.
Hello, good evening, Sibo. Good evening, gentlemen. Ronald, good evening.
Good evening.
Good night.
Gentlemen, I'm a football lover, a sports lover as a matter of fact. I played the game, football. I play for JD Rocks. And gentlemen, I don't go to see the National League because of the low standard of football that is playing right now. Gentlemen, I don't know if all you guys remember Trinidad winning the CSU and after coming to Dominica, Michael George and Kokosu Hippolyte make mincemeat of Trinidad after winning the CSU in Winter Park there. We have so much good football. I've seen football in Winter Park already. We stand. Americans go, they stand full long people just jumping and the footballers are people excited. You cannot get that footballers again. You're not seeing a Johnny Henry, you're not seeing a Solkaken Emmanuel, you're not seeing a Water Rat, you're not seeing quality players.
What about Harlem football? What about Harlem football?
Well, that's another story.
My brother, thank you for the contribution.
Well, you know, to talk about Harlem football. We haven't heard Jerry for a while. Eh? What's up with Jerry, man? We haven't heard Jerry for a long time.
No, but seriously, I mean, Manuel, what do you think accounts for that, though? I mean, you would think that given where we were in the 60s, in the 70s by now, 50 years later, we're ahead.
But let me tell you something, Doc. As Lander alluded in terms of the Windsor Park, yes, I agree with Windsor Park. But teams like, I'm expecting teams like Harlem, Harlem have had the Newton Field for years. Buffett State, they have, even though regarding the field is there. You look at Dublin, look at Portsmouth. I'm expecting those teams to have a good brand. Because look, they're a good brand. Fella is trying to, in the gardens, That's where Fella is trying to keep Kensborough alive. All right? But I know when I was in Dominica, if we had a place like Buffett State, or we had Harlem, a field for us to practice. But those teams, they have their own field still.
Let me hold on. Hold that thought. We have a caller. Good evening. Hello, good evening. Yeah, we're still trying to connect with the.
But I firmly believe, because I won a championship with Grammar School, second division. I won a championship with Spartans. I made the junior national team in football. And I firmly believe that not having the Windsor Park and technical wing has adversely affected our football.
I agree with you.
So then you have to go to the out districts to develop the football. So it will take a while for the football to develop.
What?
That's the stage we are in now.
Joking, man.
That's the stage we are in. Look at Point Michel. Point Michel showing some good potential. Point Michel doesn't even have a team again.
They have their own field. Ask what happened.
I don't know in terms of commitment and but you see, you have some core fellas. Kensborough used to use Windsor Park. Spartans used to use technical wing. That's where we used to train, in technical wing.
Grammar Academites and that's where we trained?
Yeah.
What
so you had areas that you train and you saw guys around you, and Ro used to tell me, don't rush tackle. And you used to develop as a footballer. But you don't have that kind of facility.
But look at Pottersville Savannah now. It's what, a forest?
Don't even talk about that. Don't even talk about Pottersville Savannah. Don't even talk about Pottersville Savannah.
So basically, we're identifying the lack of playing facilities as one of the main
That's one of the areas. And the central playing facility that was stimulating football in Dominica.
Okay, guys, I think we have the coach now. Good night. Good night, Mr. Sabin. Good night.
Good night, Sebastian.
Sorry we couldn't join for you earlier, so quickly we'll move on. I'm sure you probably heard the discussion. I watched both games, coach, and I felt that in the first game, our footballers are atrocious. I do not know if that was the plan. There were a lot of long balls being kicked upfield, hoping that the strikers could get the ball. I don't know. Probably you can tell us what was the strategy for the first game.
Well, the first game we suffered a heavy defeat because we played too much of a high line. Let me just put it out. Because we played too much of a high line. Yes, the long ball was intended to make use of the quick strikers we had and the slow defense that the Bermuda team had. But because we were playing too much of a high line, it wasn't giving us that space for the forwards to run onto the ball.
Yeah, but the second game, though, I thought we played very well. In fact, I thought we should have gone.
The second game, now, the plan was because we played a lot deeper. If you realize the defensive back line was right on top of our 18-yard box, so that allowed us more space behind the Bermuda defense to play those balls forward into the forward. So that was the adjustment we made to the 42nd game. So that was the Bermuda team was under so much pressure because if you look at the game, our forwards was just on the half line. So that gave him the whole Bermuda half to run on.
Yeah, but I felt that we should have gone ahead in the second, in both games early on. We should have been in front in both games.
Well, in both games we had similar situations where we got the first, I think, 3 chances in both games. So his memory serves me right, and we just didn't convert them. Some days you really have tough days at the office, and these are goals we see these players score on a regular basis. So I'm not sure if it's the pressure or what, but they didn't convert them, and so through no fault of theirs, and you can't blame them. I mean, we really need those goals, but these things happen in sports.
Yeah, but you have to score. But again, Mr. Sabin, Dominica is in danger now of being relegated. If you don't win the next game or two, you're in danger of being relegated to League C, right?
Well, Antigua is still below us. It's only
that's
one team
true.
getting relegated.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a matter of getting points in the next window and staying up in League B.
So where are the next 2 games? Where are they going to be played?
The next 2 games are going to be played in Dominican Republic.
So why aren't we playing in Dominica at all? Okay, after the games are in November, that Creole will be gone. Why can't we play in Dominica? What's the problem with that?
Well,
You have to rehab the field.
the format of the league where they use the venues from the free top teams. See, now we were recently promoted to League B. We came in as the 4th team, so we came in at the bottom of the table. So because Antigua was just above us, they hosted the first window. Then Bermuda was above Antigua, they hosted the second window, and Dominican Republic being the top team, we lost the last window. That's a new format CONCACAF introduced for this year, so that's why we didn't have any. Once we remain in League B, though, for next season, we will be getting games because we will not be the newly promoted team. So one of the windows, most likely the first window, we should be hosting.
So our next 2 games will be against which teams?
Dominican Republic.
Against Dominican Republic and Antigua again.
Well, we have to try and beat Antigua for sure. We have to try to ensure that we stay in League B, right?
Well, it's very difficult for us to get relegated because on goal difference, Antigua is minus by a big number.
Well, yeah, I know they got 5-0 in the last game, and so yeah.
They got 5-0 in both 2 games.
10 in 2 games.
6-1 and a 3-2. And coming into that window, we had a better goal difference than them. So I think they'd have to give us probably maybe 7 or 8 in order for them to leapfrog us, something like that.
But let me ask you though, obviously a lot of festivities coming on. Obviously teams, what about practice to prepare for the next set of games?
Well, that is another issue we have where we in the festival season, like you just said. So, I mean, a lot of the players, is national engagement, meaning these are our independent. This is our independence time. You can't take out the players' independence for really and truly. So just a matter
No, what you just said. What you just said. Say it again. You cannot what?
Our independence time, and the players also have to engage in independence celebration. So we will find time in between there to get some training done. Independence season is more next week, more or less. So after that. Well, next week we'll get a few sessions in, and after that we'll get more sessions in because the festive season will be more or less over.
Yeah, but guys have to make up their mind what they want to do. If you are sport, I remember, I tell you, one win was and Leeward split. We trained in Dominica. It was Carnival Day. We had to be running up and down. I remember that clearly. Carnival Monday and Tuesday, we win the back training. White people were jumping up. So if you really want to play, you have to make up your mind what you want to do. So we can't talk about is Creole and that. The guys have to make up their mind, honestly. Huh?
But seriously,
I mean, the next win is a very important window, meaning to get points from next window.
Exactly.
So guys have to make up their mind that we have to train in order for us to be suitably prepared for the next window.
Nobody, you wanted to tell him to ask you what coach said?
Oh yes, I have to get involved. I'm talking about independence, Sebastian. Independent celebration. That should never stop. That can't stop football. That cannot stop from playing football. And that's the good. As I'll come back again with the non-availability of the Windsor Park, because in those days, regardless of what was happening in activity, you had guys who would be playing football, playing basketball. You had the hard court was engaged, the grass was engaged, tackling, these places were engaged. And then you go on to socialize if you have to. But yet still, everything has changed now. We are member of FIFA, CONCACAF. All right, we are playing big football now. Monies are being spent. So guys have to understand they have to make the sacrifice. All right, they have to make the sacrifice. Otherwise, if you want to be involved in the football, you got to make sacrifices. And a lot of work has to be done in our football. A lot of work. And I've said so openly, the national team is as strong as if your league is strong, your national team going to be strong. And coach, the players, first of all, I believe the players are very slow. And I thought something happened in the first game, subject to correction. The captain, that's the guy from Dublin.
Brian Thomas. He was acting captain because Glenson Prince was substituted. So Brian Thomas.
Yes. And and when he got the red card going down, I saw he removed the band and he threw it down on the ground. Is that correct?
Well, he sent it for the player to catch and the player didn't catch it.
But you don't do that. I've never seen that in football.
The funny thing about that, when a referee gives you a red card, you don't give it a whole get of skill. And it was more or less and in both games really and truly the officiating was deplorable. I can hopefully say that.
No. Just now. Let me tell you.
Knowing Papa's not real character, he will not deliberately toss the man on the ground.
No. He was upset. I watched everything. Upset. Normally, a player going out, no matter how upset he is, he will hold his weight until the next person going out and tell him, look, hand it over to John on the field. But he just threw it down. And a lot of dissent was shown.
He was trying to tell it for Travis Joseph, but the stadium itself has a lot of wins. So even that
But coach, hold on, Lobby. Honestly, when he was walking out, he gesticulated towards the referee. That's honest. Be honest. I saw that. You saw that yourself. His reaction was very bad.
For the official.
Exactly. I saw him actually waving his hands. And in fact, I said, maybe then, if you get, it was a second yellow card, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Right. So you only get a one-match ban. But his reaction, probably they could report him. He could get 2 free matches because it was very poor. When he walked out, he was gesticulating. You saw that? I saw that myself. That was live on TV. I saw that. So we must not make excuses when things are bad. We have to say it like it is.
I don't make excuses. I mean, it was clear to see, his reaction. Obviously frustrated and disappointed. But it's not excuses. I just say, not real character would never send a captain's man on the ground.
Yeah. No, but
the next person to receive.
Hold on, Dr. Fonte wanted to ask him a question.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Dr.
Yeah, Coach Simon, I wanted to go back a little bit to what you said at the start with regards to the strategy that you adopted in the first game. And then you changed in the second game. I'm wondering if within that game itself, you couldn't have probably done something, because you would have realized at least by the end of the first half, that was not working. So why it is that you persisted and not having changed it to try something else in the second half? In the second half, I know you changed it in the second half, in the second game, and your team played a lot better. I'm saying in the first game, within that game itself, was there not room for some kind of adjustment, given that it was not working out?
Well, yeah, there was room for adjustment. We made some adjustments. If you realize, we after conceding the 3 goals in the first half, the other 3 goals really came late in the game, where I guess probably was tired legs and lapse in concentration. But for the most part of the second half, the players really held their own and kept the opponents at bay. So there was clearly a change in the strategy.
Yeah, well, Coach, okay, so go ahead, Lobby. You still wanted to ask him a question.
Yeah, just on what I just know, a continuation on the red card. All right. Now, first of all, this individual, I have been watching him playing football with a lot of bad tackling, bad. I'm telling you about that. All right. He's never in position. All right. So you find that if you have, as a key player on the team, you have already your team, almost 4-5-4. You have a yellow card. You got to play sensible. The next, you have to play sensible. And that tackle was uncalled for. He was not in position. All right? And he has to understand. People must tell him that. All right? He has been tackling terrible. Winning balls terrible. He's never in position. And he has to stop that. Play more sensible.
Well, I guess the coach will do that. I mean, that's what he's there for. I guess the coach will do that. That's what, that's what he's there for.
You can be tough, Sebastian. You can be tough, you know. I like
well, the
players
coach,
to be
as
tough,
I
but
said,
you have
the
to be
coach
sensible.
is there. That's his job to do that, to talk to him.
Yeah,
That's the coach's job. I mean, we cannot find that. The coach has to speak to his players. You know, coach, before you go, one thing, the goalkeeper, I felt that 2 of the goals in the first game, particularly one, the 4th goal just after halftime, it was a soft goal. I thought he could have saved that one. And the penalty, casual kick by the guy, and I was a bit surprised the goalkeeper didn't stop that one, honestly. I don't know if you want to comment.
For the penalty, it was a case of he losing his footing. When he looked at a lot of videos of the Nakiwans forward, and he already, the Nakiwans forward has 2 different styles. One run up, he goes to the right of the goalkeeper, and when he goes slow, he goes to the left of the goalkeeper. So he already knew that, seeing that Naki was coming in slow, he was going to the left. What happened to him in the end was that when he tried to push off to make the save, he lost his footing because the Bermuda grass is a funny grass. It doesn't really allow for you to really catch footing. And we only played the only time we touched the field was for the 2 games. We never had any pre-game session on the field or anything of that nature because the venue coordinators decided that the only thing that played on the field is the game. So we never really played on the field.
And the second one now, the other goal, the 4th one I spoke about.
Well, and the other goal, I think that 2 of them after which he took ownership of. He apologized to the players after that he took ownership of. It was really
I saw that. I felt it was his fault.
And
but again,
and he realized it was an error on his part, and he took ownership for them.
Okay, cool, no problem. Because I saw that, I felt that. Anyway, coach, I think we have another guest coming up. Thanks. I mean, I hope the next time we'll be able to get you earlier with the link so that we will not have problem. And we'll speak again. I guess you guys will be training before your next games next month. So thanks for joining us. Thank you so much.
Yes, we'll be training. You're welcome. Thanks much.
Thanks, yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, so as I say, the game, what we'll do, Langley, let's take a break now, and then our guests soon after that. Let's take a break now.
Looking for a quiet, relaxing place to stay? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Leaving the office late and need somewhere close to town? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Have business clients coming in and need accommodation? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Looking for group accommodation? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Located at 37 Goodwill Road in Portersville, upstairs ACS Supermarket. Enjoy our semi-self-contained rooms with private washroom, bathroom, Wi-Fi, air condition, cable network, mini refrigerator, all in a non-smoking environment. Call or WhatsApp at 1767-275-1899 or email us at info@portersplaceguesthouse.com to make your reservations. Porter's Place, your home away from home. Fit for a king, a queen, and all their royal subjects.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fenced pipe, and Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins, and bidets. PVC piping, fittings, and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
When you want the best, what you do? Shop at the CS. Better than the rest. Go shop at the CS. And they all compare. Shop at the CS. You get more for life. Shop at the CS. Shop at the CS. Yeah. Shop at the CS. Shop at SCS. What they say? Shop at SCS. SCS family, customer friendly, with free locations, it's so convenient, and our prices, they are the nicest. Madam, that's where you belong. Oh, tell your mama, tell your papa, shop at SCS. Tell your son and your daughter, shop at SCS. Auntie, nan, and cousin, friend, open power, all of them. Grandma, grandpa, couple, neighbor, girlfriend, boyfriend, side. What? Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. Check us out at Pottersville, High Street, and Downtown Rose.
Okay, we are back and we have a very important guest, guys, who is going to join us. He is the former president of Cricket West Indies, Mr. Wycliffe Dave Cameron. He was a director first for 5 years. Then he was the vice president of the board for 6 years. And he was president of CWI from 2013 to 2019. And during his tenure, I remember, 1 year, you remember, the West Indies won the Under-19 World Cup, the Ladies World Cup, the Men's World Cup. The franchise system is a major achievement, I think, for West Indies cricket during his tenure as well. And the stabilization of the finances was a major thing. But a lot of successes during his time, and I think we'll let him tell listeners. Good night, sir.
Good evening, Sibo, and thank you very much, Mr. Lockhart Sebastian. And I didn't get the other person.
Well, we have Dr. Fountain here, Ronald London, Emmanuel Loblack, the other panelists. So we're going to be grilling you for the next 45 minutes for sure. Yeah. Yeah. So we have a high-powered panel.
I hope you're not grilling me, but I'm having a conversation.
What is a conversation? You are right, Prezi. In fact, let's give the callers the number so they can call. Let me give the callers the number so when people want to interact with him, go ahead.
The numbers are 4493.
Go on.
Before you start grilling me, let me take the opportunity to publicly congratulate you and Dominica from Jamaica, on behalf of Jamaica, on that wonderful performance of Miss Thea Lafon.
Thank you.
In the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
Made us all as Caribbean people proud, and this is one of the things. As I say to you, I get goosebumps that West Indies cricket stands for. It's not you're not alone, and we celebrate all the performances around the region. So Thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Let's give the numbers. Give the numbers for the callers.
The numbers are 449-3095, 449-3096, 449-3097, 616-4257. Those are local numbers. The overseas number 305-432-9624. Let me run those one more time. 449-3095, 449-3096, 449-3097, 616-4257. Local numbers, and the overseas number 305-432-9624.
Yes, okay. President, first question. I'm sure during your term as president, there are a number of things would have made you very happy. Tell us some of the things you felt were the major things you did as president of CWI.
Well, before I begin there, Lockhart, the things that we were able to achieve, and I can't leave out your own Emmanuel Nathan, who was vice president
Yes, true.
for 6 years. Um, we wanted to improve the standards around cricket, West Indies cricket, again, around the professionalization of the game. There are presidents before me who wanted to achieve the same, and there are presidents afterwards. I think everybody wants to see the product grow. Um, but most of us were timid about making the changes. And I think that is the one thing I'd like to say that we were successful in doing. We were not successful enough in communicating those changes and how it would affect everybody and what the future looks like. And I think in hindsight, those are our challenges. But we were able to make some significant changes. We recognize that since the 1980s, previous to that, cricket was largely an amateur sport played around the world by persons who were professionals, either doctors, lawyers, or whatever. And then they play cricket part time. And after West Indies became so successful, the advent of professional cricketers were created around the world. And we were still being amateurs trying to play this beautiful game. But we were good enough to compete from time to time, but we were not consistent enough. And our objective was really about professionalizing the game. All the other things that we did was really in conjunction with that. It was about creating the platform to have professional players, umpires, coaches, etc., so that cricket would not be a pastime anymore.
Thank you. Very well said. President, I don't know, up to yesterday, I saw an article from Brian Davis where he criticized this and was saying that, in fact, some of the players who sometimes opt out of tours should not be selected for West Indies. I remember when you were president, that is one thing you try to instill discipline. But it appears that discipline has gone out of the window and players are deciding when they must play or when they shouldn't play. You care to comment on that?
So that is a very difficult issue, but I think we need to go back to the start of it, Lockhart and members of the panel, because we recognize the fact that players can make a lot more money outside of the West Indies. But we also recognize, and it's very important, that if the West Indies team does not do well, we don't get the tours that we need in order to sustain it. So we're very mindful, and I think that is the balance that has not been struck between giving the players the opportunity to earn and allowing West Indies to earn and be sustainable for the future. Once we get into that space where the players are thinking about themselves, which one has to do, then they're not thinking about the welfare of West Indies. And I don't believe the conversation is being had, because I don't believe that it is something that can be left to the conscience of players, but really should be mandated. Um, and it's not mandated around the world because the rest of the countries are very dissimilar to our West Indies organization. We are not a country. We are a region. We're different countries. Had it been a country, say Dominica, and a Dominican decided not to play for Dominica, we would have a different conversation. But when a Trinidadian decide not to play for the West Indies, Trinidadian players, people applaud him, and so on and so forth. And so it's not so easy to be reconciled, and I don't believe that the conversation is being had. It's not something that one should leave to the players, and it's not something that should be left to the board or the organization to determine how that go forward. But that to me is the elephant in the room that is not being discussed.
Yes, thanks for being with us. I wanted to ask a question that has been on my mind, and it has to do with, and also for our listeners, if you can give a little bit of clarity in terms of how the player contracts are awarded. For example, what goes into giving a player 2 years as against 1 year? For example, I noticed in your new contracts, Kevin Hodge got 1 year, and other players got 2 years. What goes into those player contracts, and try to explain to the public, because that seems to be a bit difficult to understand why some players get two and so on.
All right. Well, that is not a question for me currently. But if you ask me what went into the
What went
contract,
into it then when you were
yeah, I think Lockhart is probably the best person to explain to you. I mean, he's right there. He was one of our selectors, and he was charged with the responsibility of selecting our best players, and awarding them contracts for white ball, red ball development contracts. But if I may say, preempted, and so Lockhart could finish it. It was all about performance.
Correct.
And it started with fitness standards, had to be achieved and maintained, and then it's about volume of runs and wickets. And then all the qualitative things came afterwards. But it's all really about the numbers. Everything was your numbers. If your averages were improving, runs, wickets, and forget about attitude and those things. Those were the last things, and I always stress that with my selectors, that if and people will remember, some saying that we should not have played Devon Smith at the age he played because he had failed so many times and so on and so forth. But Devon Smith came back and played for the West Indies, um, you know, at the end, because he had scored most runs in the region.
In fact, he scored
And
1,000 runs that year. He scored 1,000 runs.
yeah, you couldn't deny him the fact that he had scored so much runs. My charge to the selectors were, your responsibility is to pick the best players, and if you're leaving out a player for any reason, then and other than performance, then we need to understand that.
Well, I did say to Dr. Fountain, because he asked me that sometime last week, and I did say to him the contracts were based on performances of the preceding year. So the guy would get a contract depending on what he did last year. I did mention that to him. In fact, I said to him, some people were lucky because of their lack of performance, really. Some people were lucky.
Yes, but in terms of runs scored, I mean, Kavem has clearly been the one that, to me, that scored the most run in the recent series. So he got a 1-year contract, and that is what I'm trying to understand. Why it is that if it is based on performance and on runs scored, someone who is clearly at the head in terms of scoring of runs in the past few series gets 1 year, and somebody else was not done as well get a 2-year contract. That is what I was having a difficulty in understanding.
Well, again, I think those are the questions you need to ask the director of cricket, about how that would have done. But if I were to again proffer some kind of view on that, it would be because where Kevin Hodge is versus somebody that you have given 2 years. Is Kevin Hodge the future? Is he the current? Is he the past? That kind of thing. 'Cause those are the kinds of questions I will be asking. Is he going to look to play in all of your series, be it white ball, red ball, um, um, that kind of thing? Or is he going to be in one series? Is his averages declining or improving? Kind of thing, because it's not just the number. One of the things that we tried to look at, and again, Lockhart will tell you, were charge selectors were not just to take the numbers in 1 year, a snapshot, but we had to look at the trend, because the trend is very important. There is a very unfortunate situation with one player who decided that he should have had a different contract. And if you look at the numbers and the numbers continued to decline. It was an average that was declining. And we tried to explain that it's not just your number. Your number may be better than the other player, but what is your potential? And what are you doing? One person said to me, "Well, Sibo has a potential to have a 50 average, and if he's declining, why not give him, an A contract or a 2-year contract to hope that he will improve? But if you want players, what's incentive for me to improve?" So again, it's not an easy situation, um, and always remember this, sir. That it's limited resources, limited numbers of players, and somebody gets selected always at the expense of somebody else. And we could go down the list of saying who should be there and who shouldn't be there, and there's never any, agreement 100% over the number of who should be and who shouldn't be.
Yes, yes, Mr. Cameron. I've got a few questions for you, but the first one pertains to the socialization, the programming of players to allow them to give West Indies cricket a priority. For example, at this point in time, you've got players like Hetmeyer and Poran who could have made a difference in the current series in Sri Lanka. You've got Hossein, who had a contract, but he decided he was unavailable. What can we do to socialize, to program the next group of cricketers, young cricketers, to ensure that they give West Indies cricket the top priority?
Thank you very much for that, sir.
I'm comrade. I'm a comrade.
I thought I addressed that earlier, and let me go back over it again. That is the elephant in the room. We have a commercial organization in the region called CPL, and CPL pays the players to come and play, and they do their best, and they're rewarded. However, West Indies cricket, all of us keep looking at it as a social endeavor and not a commercial enterprise. And this is where our administration got caught up in between, trying to create a commercial enterprise versus a social structure that just gives and gives and gives. I don't believe that love that you're talking about, socialization, is going to happen, because the West Indies organization is not a country. It is made up of all our different islands. And when I was president, there was a view that I don't like Bajans. And so I did this. And then there was a view that I didn't like Trinidadians. And so I did this against Trinidadians. And then my own Jamaicans vote me out because I didn't put my Jamaicans in certain positions. That's the organization we're dealing with. There's no way that you're going to tell youngsters who are thinking about their own future that I believe you should love West Indies more than yourself or the country. This is a conversation, my brother, that needs to be discussed and agreed, that if I give you a scholarship to play for the West Indies, you must give back a minimum number of years to the organization when I need you. That's my view. And there may be other views. But my view is that in the same way, if I give you a scholarship to go to university, the government of Dominica gives you a scholarship to go to the university. You are bonded to come and work for me for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a conversation that needs to be left to players.
Yes, my second, you spoke about the CPL. My second question deals with the CPL. What is your opinion on the long-term contract given to a foreign entity to manage the CPL? And what administration gave the contract? Was it your administration?
It was. I was vice president at the time when it happened. I I was not part of the negotiations of the contract. That contract was negotiated by Ernest Hilaire,
Yes.
and Julian Hunt at the time.
We bought you.
And I heard about it. I heard about it at the same time. Pretty much everybody did. However, the precursor to that was that we had run the Caribbean T20 tournament for about 4 years prior to that, and we lost something in the region of $16 million trying to run that tournament. So if you'd asked me if it was a good move to give it to the CPL, I would say yes. The length of time is where I would have a problem, and how that was structured. But I believe it has helped the West Indies cricket. It has certainly given us a commercial outlet for T20 without burdening Cricket West Indies trying to run that event.
Okay, Mr. President, I've noticed that, and I've never seen that happen before. As you know, England is coming down in the end of October, right? Now, the Super 50 is going to be held at the same time. In fact, late in November, while the test match will be going on against Bangladesh, the ODI final in Trinidad will be going on the same day. That has never happened before. How do you look at something like that?
To explain that to me again, you have a
Okay,
you will be in Bangladesh. A team will be in Bangladesh.
No, not in Bangladesh. Bangladesh on the 22nd of November starts the first test in Antigua against West Indies. On the 23rd of November, the final of the Super 50 will be held in Trinidad. So, I mean, you imagine West Indies is playing Antigua and a Super 50 final is played. That has never happened before.
Yeah, and how would I explain that? I would explain that we have so many tours and tournaments, gentlemen, to try and fit into a very tight schedule. That's why we're playing cricket in hurricane season, and all of that, and wet season and areas where we don't normally play. And in our best season, best time of the year, in February, March, April, we don't play any cricket because we give up a window for IPL to be played, and we are compensated for that. So my response to you, Sibo, is that scheduling right now with all the events and again is what is the priority. Is it giving players opportunity to go and play all these other leagues? Is it hosting our events? Is it also having our domestic tournament? Well, if I was to think about it, the test match, your white ball players may not necessarily be playing in the test match. However, you potentially could be losing your best players not playing in the finals 2 days later, even though it's been held in a different country, a different island. So it's very difficult because there is an event every day of the week, of the year, of the month now, and players are being torn between, and boards are finding it more and more difficult to schedule their own domestic tournament, having given up 8 weeks between March and April for IPL to be played unhindered.
Okay.
Miss Lobby, you want to ask? Go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Cameron.
I didn't hear that.
Mr. Cameron, yes. I have a few observations, plus even questions.
Hello?
Look at what happens. First of all, I'm looking at.
Hello?
Hold on, Lobby. Are you hearing him, Prezi?
No, I'm not. I'm not hearing.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead, Lobby. Speak to that to see if he hears you.
Yes. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
No, Lobby, he's not hearing you.
Because
why don't you take the question and then paraphrase?
Okay, yeah. Lobby, give me the question and I'll pass it on to you. Tell me, what is the question?
Yes, my question is this, Sebastian. Over the years, I've seen teams like India, Australia, England utilize their top class players, all right, on their coaching staff. What has happened to us? For example, Desmond Haynes, to me, should have made the batting coach instead of chief selector.
Okay. President, what he's saying is that he's noticed that India, Australia, England use their past players in terms of coaching and that sort of thing. He's asking the question, why has somebody like Desmond in not been used as a batting coach instead of he being used as a selector?
Yeah, but Desmond Haynes has been used in the past
Mhm.
in all of those capacities, and the latest he was a selector.
Yes.
Desmond has been used. If I may say, Lockhart, the challenges we have in the region is that we didn't create enough opportunities for our former players to be certified. Now
Mhm.
that is changing a bit, and I'm talking about certified coaches, etc. And we also created under our regime past players as association to try and help those who didn't get qualified when they were playing, to assist them with those kinds of things to become certified. Because I believe that not because you're a former player that you understand how to pass on knowledge and information to current players. And I think all of us should be certified. If you want to coach, then you must get some kind of certification to coach. I don't believe in because you're a former player, then you can coach.
Yeah. Lobby, did
Not
you get the
certainly not at
answer?
a certain level.
Did
Yes,
you get
I
the
got
answer,
the,
Lobby?
yes, I got the answer, but for example, Sebastian,
Uh-huh.
if I, first of all, looking at Ambrose, for example, I would send Ambrose to be certified. I want Ambrose in my corner as you know, as a top bowler in the world. I want to ask you the question: how was he able to be so consistent? How was he able to bowl on line? How was he able?
But do
All
you
right.
know Ambrose was part of the coaching staff, Lobby? Are you aware of that? He was there for at least 2 years. He was there
When?
for 2 years. Well, you don't remember. He was
Well,
there
yes,
for
yes,
over.
I could
He was
recall that.
right in Dominica. He was the coach of the West Indies team, right here,
I
right
think
here.
Simmons told him that he has to be certified.
Well, you just heard what Mr. Cameron just said. You just heard him. So that's
Yeah,
the
but
point you're making.
Sebastian, yes, with all this coaching, the certified coaches, why our fast bowlers are so inconsistent? Why their line is so inconsistent?
Well, I don't think the president now, former President Mr. Cameron, can answer that. I don't think that's a question for him. Anyway, President, let me ask you a question. A lot of people, there have been this quiet around the Caribbean about the how the administration of West Indies cricket now. Some people feel you should come back. Let me ask you though, if asked and people feel you should come back, would you be prepared to come back and run West Indies cricket?
Well, so Lockhart and
Yeah.
members of the studio and everybody listening. The region is very near and dear to me. As we speak right now, I'm actually outside the Caribbean
Yeah,
Golf
I know. Yeah,
Association
yeah.
event in Tobago. I'm
Right.
here representing Jamaica among my Caribbean people. And sport is very dear and dear to me. Cricket is my passion and service. You know, if I was asked to come back, I would definitely think about it. I would have to, communicate better. I think we had some challenges there. But before we even get that to that point, Lockhart, we would have to agree with our stakeholders near and far is what exactly do we want from West Indies cricket?
Mhm.
Because I thought we delivered performance, we delivered stability. We had more players with better averages than any other time. We had more coaches. We had, female contracts. We had umpires who were, for the first time, umpires were made professionals as well. Physios right across the region. But yet still, there was discomfort with what was being done. So we would need to be very clear on what is it that our holders want. Do we want a team that's winning, or do we want to be friendly with the players? Because my own view is that players come and players go. There's what you were a great former player, and so too was um, Sir Gary Sobers and so on and so forth. But what is important is that organization called West Indies Cricket. How is that legacy to be treated to ensure that most of us and all of us in the future can benefit from the organization? And I think that is the discussion that needs to be had is how do we ensure that West Indies cricket go forward? Are we, know about individual countries? Or do we want Dominica to go it alone and Jamaica and Barbados and so on and so forth, or the Windward Islands and so forth? And I think those are the questions that need to be had before we would even think about getting back inside there, because for me, I'm about performance. I want to win. I don't do anything just to compete. I want to win, and so I'm very passionate about that. And so when I'm leading, that's where my focus is versus people who just want to manage a situation. So that is the concern that I would have.
Mr. President, during your tenure, the franchise system was introduced, and players now have been able to make a living. And one of the main guys who did that was Richard Pybus. I am sure you would want to say something about Richard Pybus while you were president.
No, I mean Richard he was one of the best.
President, hold that for a while. There's a call on the line. Hold it for. Good evening.
Good evening, Sibo,
Good evening. Yeah.
and your special guest, the president, and the rest of you guys on the panel.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question for the president, Sibo.
Go right ahead. He's listening.
Past president.
Past president. Past president.
Past president. Oh, he's the past president.
Yeah, he's
Okay,
the
that's
past
simple.
president. Yeah.
Okay. Taking into consideration the fact that West Indies is not a country, I mean, we all can agree with that. And knowing that we have a future prime minister sitting on the panel with you, Sibo, what advice Mr. Cameron have for the leaders of the West Indies? Because I could recall some time ago they had some big meeting of prime minister in Trinidad. What special advice or what recommendation he would have for those leaders, knowing that the West Indies is not like a country, which I agree, but what advice you would have to give to them to bring back the standard of West Indies cricket?
Okay, thank you for the question. Let him answer. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, cool.
Let him answer.
Thank you.
Yes, President, you heard the
I
question.
didn't hear. Can you? No, I didn't.
Okay,
Can you
what?
just tell me?
Well, what he was saying on the panel there's a future a guy who could be the prime minister in the next few months or something, like one of our panelists. That's what he was saying. So he's saying, what advice would you have for prime ministers regarding West Indies cricket? That's what he was asking.
Prime ministers.
Yeah.
Well, listen, the government is critical to West Indies cricket. There's no two ways about that. The government has a role. All the stadia, all the development has to be in conjunction with the government. So the government is very, very critical. But again, governments have to be mindful as well that they don't manipulate the process within the West Indies cricket hierarchy. And listen, the West Indies cricket is so important to the region. It West Indies cricket and the University of the West Indies are the only two that I know of remaining organizations that represent us and CARICOM. And so it is so important to keep that fabric of independence going within the system. But at the same time, our governments are critical to that process.
About Pybus. Yeah. Let's go back to that.
Yeah, well, Richard is the best proponent of performance that I've ever come across. He's certainly an architect of high performance, and we were blessed to have met him, to have recruited him in Jamaica. I never forget when I met him. And again, Richard is misunderstood
Mm-hmm.
in much the same way I am,
Yes.
which is that we stand for performance
Mm-hmm.
and less about personalities. The personalities we can get across. And I would say to you, Lockhart, that it would be really the greatest thing if Westerners were to bring back Richard Pybus
I
into the
agree with you.
system.
I agree with you.
He would have to. I mean, I'm less less important because I'm not actually on the ground directing the events. I was more his supporting cast
Mm-hmm.
in the boardroom, ensuring that he got the resources to implement the changes. But Richard's understanding of performance and his willingness to go beyond the Call of Duty is something that I think is what was the hallmark of our tenure in West Indies cricket.
Yeah, Jamaica used to be a central pillar in West Indies cricket. Jamaica produced a lot of high quality players. Uh, we saw the CPL 2024, there was no Jamaican franchise. The T20 World Cup, there were no games in Jamaica. And recently, we've seen a decline in Jamaica's cricket. What is the current status of Jamaica cricket?
You just said it, in decline. uh, Jamaica. Yeah, I'm past president. So while I was president of West Indies Cricket, I was president of my club in Jamaica called Kensington Cricket Club for about 19 years. The club is now under the presidency of Wavell Hines, and we continue to produce players. But Jamaica is an interesting situation. Jamaica has so many other sports and sporting disciplines that we excel at. That cricket, because of the resources required in cricket for schools to participate, etc., we our populace has lost interest in it for a number of reasons. The industries that supported cricket um, have all gone away, albeit our agriculture sector, which is banana and sugar and bauxite dumping sectors. Those are the sectors that supported cricket in our rural parishes. And there, where all the cricket grounds are, they would have prepared them and allowed schools to use them, etc. And all where there's no more sugar industry is very the plantation system is we have only a few plantations left in Jamaica. Bauxite is in the decline and there's no banana industry anymore. So that is the story of Jamaica. We have 170 high schools in Jamaica, male and female. And our last, what we call Headley Cup, Grace Kennedy sponsored events, we had 27 schools participating. So that gives you exactly where we're at. So Jamaica has to approach cricket very differently, and I hope we just voted a new president that he will take it on and try to understand how we're gonna get Jamaica to participate in growing that game.
Prezi, I mean, our cricket have been in decline in the last 5 years. I mean, we haven't been winning. In fact, we didn't qualify for the semi-final of the 50 over the T20. Our youngsters. Do you see in anything down the road? Do you see any light? Do you see West Indies cricket coming back?
Well, see, boy, I'm always hopeful. But while being hopeful, I don't see any plans being done to bring West Indies cricket back. What I see a lot of window dressing with feel good. Laka, the only way to address performance is by addressing performance, and performance comes from the players. I would like to challenge you, the listeners, viewers, panelists tonight to go and look at the numbers or the statistics of our players, our current players in the West Indies setup, our current players in the regional setup, and look back at them in 2019 at the heyday when we were starting to win games more consistently, and you'd see what has happened. It is we have allowed indiscipline, we've relaxed our rules, and so people can do what they want to do whenever, and that's not performance. Performance is rules and discipline and guidelines, and if you don't produce numbers, you don't get played. You know, we don't lower the standards to allow people to play and then hope that you do well. And that's what we're doing. We're hoping that we do well. We've lowered the fitness standards.
Aye, boy.
You watch a game in against all the teams we play. T20 teams do well every now and again because if you bowl badly to them, they hit you out of the park. But if our West Indies team, my view, was a fit team, as fit as an Australian team, and they could hit and run like that team, we would score close to 300 every T20 inning. With the amount of dot balls that we have in our inning, and so that has to be the standard. What is the standard that we want? Are we just happy scoring 180 with 50 dot balls, or do we want to get to, scoring 300 every game? And that's my view. That's where West Indies cricket could be.
What you know?
We have to get out of being comfortable. Oh, because we're climbing the ranks and stuff. We're ranked number 10, I think, in ODI, and 7th or 8th in Test cricket. Yes, we're ranked 4th in T20, but again, T20 is all about fun and entertainment. But you have to be able to bat properly in ODI and Test cricket, and that is still the standard today. If you're a good cricketer, my view, you could play any format, and you need to be able to bat to play Test cricket and ODI.
I'm glad you mentioned that about the standards and the fitness, because I remember, and you would know very well that while we were the panel, there were some people that pressure was put on us to select certain people, and it never happened. And as soon as we were fired, as they say, some of these guys got selected. You would know who I'm talking about. You were the president, and you remember that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we select them. We've selected them, and where are we today?
Yes, exactly.
We were told that these guys were the best that they could be. And again, Sibo, you mentioned the performance. We brought a team to a World Cup that people couldn't even stay on the park. They were so unfit.
Yeah, that's true.
And we came last.
Yes.
We came last in the tournament.
Yes, correct.
But nobody said anything about that. So again, that's why, and I come back to my passion and love for this game and for the region, that I would love to serve again, and we need to be very clear about what is it that we want, because there was outrage when we came last in the last two events, when we didn't qualify for events. We bombed out in this World Cup, and nobody has said anything. The last one that was held in the region, and it was we just blow it over. And unfortunately, we won 3 championships one year, and we did not get a chance to celebrate. This region, I think, was robbed of the opportunity to really celebrate. When I saw India winning that T20 World Cup and how they paraded in India, and we won 3 championships, and we were robbed of the opportunity of celebrating the successes. That's one of the biggest disappointments of being the president of the Western Cricket Union.
Okay, Preti, before we leave, I'm sure you'd want to say something about your vice president who was with you for 6 years before we leave.
Oh, well, I thought I did, but I mean, you notice I always say we.
Yes.
Because my vice president was supportive 100% of the time. We didn't agree on everything, and that's a great thing about our relationship
Yeah.
with
That's
Namsan.
important.
We didn't agree. No, we didn't agree on everything. But we would talk about it and we would have hard discussion. But then once we agreed to make a decision, he would support me.
Yes.
And if I decided, well, Mano, I think I agree with you, we would go on that road.
Yeah. Oh,
And
there's a
that's
caller.
pretty much
Pressy, hold on. There's a caller on the line. Good evening.
Good evening, gentlemen. Good program. I have a question, really. I am looking at the other countries like Australia, England, India, and so on. The players always want to play for their country first. But to me, the attitude of some of our West Indian fellas is that they want to play IPL and the other franchise before they play for their country. What is the reason behind this? Can anybody help me on this one?
President, I think you have addressed it already, but President, you heard the question?
No, I didn't.
Well, yeah. Well, I know you have a difficulty, but I think you addressed that already. Probably the caller tuned in. What he was saying about our players not wanting to play for West Indies and playing IPL all over the place, and they always have difficulty.
Yeah. I'm saying that's the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Because you can't do it. No other country in the world allows it,
Mm-hmm.
or that they would not be allowed to do it in any other country and get away with it.
Okay.
But because we're not one country, so that's a challenge.
Okay, Prezi, thank you so much. It was nice you joining us and the panel. We enjoyed. I'm sure most people enjoyed it, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Sibo, and all the best. And again, congratulations to the Dominican people.
Thanks, man.
Thank you
very
much.
Enjoy yourself, man.
Thank
have
you
a
very
good
much,
time.
Mr. Cameron.
Enjoy yourself. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Let's take our last ad break, Nambi. Yeah.
When you want the best, what you do? Shop at SCS. Better than the rest. Go shop at SCS. And they all confess. Shop at SCS. You get more for what they say. Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. Yeah. Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. What they say. Shop at SCS. SCS family. Customer friendly. With free locations. It's so convenient. And our prices, they are the nicest. Madam, that's where you belong. Oh, tell your mama, tell your papa, shop at SCS. Tell your son and your daughter, shop at SCS. Auntie, nan, and cousin, friend, open power, all of them. Grandma, grandpa, couple, neighbor, girlfriend, boyfriend, side. What? Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. Check us out at Pottersville, High Street, and downtown Rose. Looking for a quiet, relaxing place to stay? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Leaving the office late and need somewhere close to town? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Business clients coming in and need accommodation? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Looking for group accommodation? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Located at 37 Goodwill Road in Portersville, upstairs ACS Supermarket. Enjoy our semi-self-contained rooms with private washroom, bathroom, Wi-Fi, air condition, cable network, mini refrigerator, all in a non-smoking environment. Call or WhatsApp at 1767-275-1899 or email us at info@pottersplaceguesthouse.com to make your reservations. Porter's Place, your home away from home. Fit for a king, a queen, and all their royal subjects.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fenced pipe, and Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins, and bidets. PVC piping, fittings, and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
coming to the end of the program. I think there's a caller, Labby. Let's take the caller. Good evening. Yes.
I want to call you in the football session.
We didn't hear anything you say, Muku. Say it again.
I tried to call you in the football session, but I couldn't get you.
Okay, make the point you wanted to make.
Well, Libya and Nigeria in the football, they have a conflict yesterday. The Libya crowd has been hostile against them and they refuse to play. You understand anything going on between them now?
I still did you hear?
Between Niger and Nigeria?
Or Libya, he said. Libya, I think.
And Nigeria, they can't get on the safe crowd of the hostile was there, so they refuse to play.
Oh, he said the crowd was hostile and they refused to play. That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
I didn't hear that. Honestly, I'm sorry, I didn't.
That makes me decision.
I heard about a conflict, but I don't know the details, Muku.
Okay.
We were supposed to get in touch with Godwin Dawson, but I think we ran out of time because I think the school athletics started tomorrow. Godwin, we'll call you next week to get all the details. So sorry we didn't call you tonight because we had this long interview. So I'm just saying I want to apologize. Next week we'll call you. So if you can get all the details for us about the school athletics, we'll be grateful. So we'll speak to you next week because we're coming to the end of the program.
Women quickly.
Tomorrow is the semi-final, 10 o'clock. Playing New Zealand.
But what happened today?
Well, today South Africa won easily by 8 wickets. Easy. South Africa have been playing good cricket. In fact, the top two are the two highest scorers in the entire tournament.
And that's the only game we lost so far against South
Africa.
Yeah.
So, but we have to win first tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we have to get past Sophie Devine and Susie Bates. So we have to get past.
I think the girls going to get into the finals. I think they're going to go to
Well, let's hope so. Let's hope so.
I know so.
Let's hope so. So it will be. Well, our guys didn't do well today. They got beaten badly.
They have been doing well for a while now. Since after the first game.
Yeah, they got beaten badly.
Guys have a problem with spin, inefficient batting, and the bowling is so loose. Alzari.
Oh, it continues to lick runs.
But listen, Alzari is the first to
50 wickets. Yeah, that's true.
Ahead of Narayan, ahead of all the West Indian
fastest, you mean? The fastest.
In 48.
Yeah, but at what is at what rate?
Yeah, but
at what rate?
Yeah,
at what
rate? At what rate? Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure of the
because Alzari is bowling now and is so inconsistent today. Alzari bowled 3 hours for 38 runs.
Yes.
And he's supposed to be the key bowler.
Yeah, he's going for it. Well, the ODI starts on Sunday, 5:30. 5 o'clock, sorry. The first ODI is on Sunday. West Indies and Sri Lanka, 5 o'clock Sunday morning, the first ODI. Let's take this caller. Good evening.
Oh, yes, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, as you also covered the game today. I know this guy is bowl bad, but I believe maybe if they had chased, maybe they would do better. Maybe.
Well, they won the toss, so they should, if they had to chase, they should have done that. They won the toss today, eh? Do you know that? West Indies won the toss. And
they won the toss, right? That's why they should chase.
Oh, okay. Well, the last match they chased and they were bundled out for close score. The last match they were chasing. Huh?
Yeah,
you think so?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's
Sebastian, quick.
Yeah, Lobby.
Why Hodge isn't on the ODI team?
Well, the selector didn't pick him. That's what
because what I find funny. Well, I can up now, Sebastian. I can understand. To me, if you play an ODI, you can play test match.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And he has been he has been scoring. All right. One day I cannot understand up to now. You live when Hodge was left out.
Well, what he has to do, Lobby, the tournaments are in fact the Windward Islands live next week. We'll probably have Liam on for a few minutes next week because they leave for Trinidad next week, Saturday, I think. So he needs to just go and make runs in Trinidad. That's all he has to do. And because England is coming down in the end of October, so the Super 50 starts in Trinidad on the 27th. So he has a perfect opportunity. So we'll probably have the manager Liam on for a few minutes next week to tell us about his team. They still haven't finalized their team. The Windward, because Ali Kafanaz wouldn't be playing. Fletcher was the captain last. I don't expect Fletcher to be captain this year. So Jelani Robinson would have probably made the team, but he got a broken finger while he was in St. Vincent. So that rules him out. So we will hear next week what's happening because the Super 50 is starting.
But proud of the women. You know, we must not tell the women they did really well.
And
they beat England. Space beating on England.
10 o'clock tomorrow, everybody. Tune in on ESPN. The semi-final tomorrow. The West Indies playing New Zealand tomorrow. So let's hope they can win so they could play the final on the weekend against South Africa. Okay? So on behalf of Dr. Fountain, Ronald Landa, Lamy, and Lobby, we want to say good night, and we'll be back next week. Have a good night, everybody.